Alan Miller is co-founder of Recovery and the Nighttime Industries Association, and a campaign for Open for All. They, among others, have launched a judicial action, a court action, to try and stop vaccine passports from coming in. Good morning to you, Alan.
Good morning, Julia.
I have to say, I do find it extraordinary that my vaccine passport, i.e. the one I show to come back in the country and leave the country, is not good enough to get me out of isolation. But apparently it would be enough to allow me into a nightclub, to go dancing in a few months' time, or to go to a football match. The government said again and again and again they wouldn't bring in vaccine passports. They would be discriminatory. It'd be wrong. And then they said they would, then they wouldn't, and they would, then they wouldn't. It won't be for pubs. It won't be for this. Now the list seems to be expanding every single day. What are your fears?
Well, you've nailed it exactly right, Julia. We've got a situation now where this creep, in fact, it's not even a creep, it's a raging set of controls that are being imposed across all areas. We're facing a situation where, similar to China, where there's a social credit system, where in every area of our lives, we're being told that in order to participate normally and freely in the way that we did just before this unprecedented policy of lockdowns, which had also never been used before, that we're going to need to have COVID IDs everywhere. And, it's very shocking and it's very scary. And I would ask your viewers and listeners who have concerns about this to have their voices heard with their MPs and with the Prime Minister, because this is just going, in every arena. Originally, it started off, it was at just nightclubs, and obviously not that many people proportionally in Britain.
Yeah, that was for softening us up, and that's the thing. Oh, it's all right. I don't go to nightclubs. What do I care? Lots of people who've never been to a nightclub in their lives. I imagine also all of the sage scientists saying, "Oh, it's nightclub." People go, "Well, fair enough. That's okay. That'll encourage young people to get the vaccine." But again, what's the difference between a nightclub and a crowded pub on a Friday night, or indeed a crowded restaurant, or any other a wedding, any other kind of party that people have? And then, as we've discovered, also football. And we have seen a spate of cases as a result of the Euros. People going out and about who've not been out and about for a long time. But the point is, we've got the vaccine passports, and we've got, Sajid Javid, the health secretary, going on about it. We've very mild symptoms. Then we've got Piers Morgan, who apparently seems to think it's a miraculous escape that he has survived COVID, along with 99.9% of other people his age. But it's terrifying to me how many people seem to think, well, if it means we'll get back to normal life, then a vaccine passport is the right thing to do. But vaccine passports aren't getting back to normal life. They're the opposite of getting back to normal life.
That's why it's so ironic. And when even the Football Supporters Association and others say this is a way to get back our freedom, when we use these terms and we intertwine them, we realise that we're getting into an Orwellian nightmare. A free and open society is just that, and we should be very proud with this society that we had. It was only been for a couple of hundred years that the idea of personal rights, freedom, tolerance, equality, a range of those issues that were fought for by people, many died for it, and we've been cavalierly having sort of thrown away at this juncture. And without sounding too melodramatic, I really think the time is now for the public to have their voices heard. Often I see on my Twitter feed and elsewhere people saying, well, why doesn't hospitality turn this around? Yeah. And the thing is that licensed premises have so much restrictions in any case. And yes, we will make challenges, but ultimately we, the public, need to have our voices heard. This is something about the kind of country, the kind of society, the kind of culture we're going to have. And if we're going to have a normal one, this condition now, this virus that was very, very damaging, particularly to old people and people with underlying conditions and the vulnerable. The vast majority of people have been vaccinated. Now they're saying they're going to be mandatory for students and a range of other people to get into halls, residents, as you said. We need to deal with a lot of compelling problems, 13 million waiting on the NHS, and a range of other issues in terms of, only yesterday we saw this morning's headlines, in fact, that there are 50,000 people that in terms of mental health issues have not been seen properly, in addition to all the other ones we know before. There's so many damages to this. The only way we can address them is to have our society open. The question of freedom is paramount now. And I think people are somewhat disingenuous when they say, well, you can't compare health and freedom. We have no health if we don't have freedom.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, in terms of your chances of success, look, we've had Steve Baker from the COVID Recovery Group on the show in the last hour, and he was saying, look, write to your MP. You know, it's all very well people tweeting and the like. Actually, you know, write, you know, sit down, write or type out a letter very politely and respectfully saying, look, you know, I want you as my MP not to do this. Write to the Prime Minister, write to the Health Secretary, write to the Chancellor. You know, make your views heard and do it politely and respectfully, not in green ink, everybody, and not in all capitals. You don't make more emphasis. You just look like a lunatic. And when MPs get a massive post bag on things, they do sit up and take notice. If they fear they're going to lose their seat at the next election, lose their livelihood, not be able to pay their mortgages, then they might sit up and recognise how much this is damaging other people. And it's all very well expecting hospitality. Oh, well, don't do it. Well, if you're forced to do it, you'll lose your licence if you don't. I mean, it's up to us to say, we will not play along. We won't give in to this. What chance, finally, briefly, do you think, what chance of success do you think you'll have legally? Because so far, pretty much every judicial challenge there has been to virtually every single aspect of the pandemic has totally and abjectly failed because so much of it is under emergency legislation.
Indeed. I think the thing is that it's a combination of challenges. I think that a challenge from the sector is really important, and there'll be other sectors that will be joining and doing similarly. But and though it's absolutely the case that the public have to have their voices heard. Now's the time to act. Anyone who's got concerns on this, regardless of their other views, this isn't about whether you're for the vaccine or against it. I actually think it's been very successful. It's about what you consider in terms of your freedom and participating in society. And I would really urge everyone to write to their MPs and have their voices heard, campaign and talk to others and get them involved.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate your work on this. Alan Miller, who's co-founder of Recovery in the Nighttime Industries Association. Final